Daf Kuf Dalet Amud Beis, right at the top of the Amud, first line at the top of the two dots. We learned in the Mishnah that on Shabbos in the Beis Hamikdash you can be mamale water from the wells Mibora Gadol Begalgal with a wheel on Shabbos, not in Medina. Only in the Beis Hamikdash that the water was used for the avodah. And as we learned, normally there would be exera because you might shem yimala leginos lechabosai, but in the Mikdash is mutter, but not in the Medina. Omibera akir beyontiv, and from the berakir it's mutter to draw water from that well on yontiv, but not on Shabbos. So, effectively, more umay. What is berakir? My berakir. What is that referring to? What is that bear that we're talking about? Omar Shmuel bor sheikrola dvorim v'tiru. It's a well that hikrola dvorim. They expressed arguments. They had a debate. They had a matzah when they came from the Goyla from Golas, from Bovel. They were traveling. They needed water, and even though normally there is an isser to draw this water on Yontiv, but they had a debate and arguments back and forth to be materit because of the need of the water. Meisei, I'll ask you a kasha, loy kol habaris hakiras hitirel zubulvat. They weren't mater all barakiras, only this one. So it's mashma that there are many other ones. If it's the bore that they had a discussion about, it's only that bore. There are no other bores. So what does it mean? Hello, Amar of Nachbar Yitzchak. The Lashon of Borakir, the etymology, comes from a different source. It's not because of the debate they had about it. It means Be'er Maim Chaim. It means that it's flowing. Akir, it's flowing. And it means by a bore of flowing water. That's horrible. So not all of them, but only this one, the specific one that they had that discussion about. Shenemar, like we see in the pasuk, that it means flowing water. Shenemar kahakir bir meimel. Like the wellspring causes the water to flow. So it's referring to the Rishonim, that the Rishus flows as well. So that's what it means. It means a ber maim. It means ber maim chaim. And it's only that Ber Maim Chaim where they were materit for this specific purpose. Gufa loy kol habaris hakiras hitiru ela zu bilvat. Only this one. What was the circumstance? Ukishalo b'nei goyla chanu leha, when they came up from the Golas, they camped by it. When Neviim shebeinei mitir, and the Neviim were materit for them to use on Yontiv. The Gemara says, however, to be more specific, loy Neviim shebeinei, it wasn't actually the Neviim, meaning Chagin Zachar Malacha. It was the minig of their fathers, meaning it was the Chachamim, that the Chachamim, the Talmid Chachamim, who were materit for them. Zok the Mishnah, Sheretz, Shenemsa b'Mikdash. If a dead Sheretz, one of the Shmeina Shrotzim in the Torah, that the Torah lists that if they die dead Shrotzim, that they're Matame. If it's found in the Beis Hamikdash, Kayin Moitzia Behem Yanai. The Kohen removes it with his avnate, with his belt, with the sash. He removes it, shaloi lahashas as a tumah. So not to prolong the tumah, that there should be tumah remaining in the Beis Hamikdash. Meaning, he can't touch it by hand. He can't pick it up by hand, because that would be matamehim, and the person who's tumah is not allowed to be in the Beis Hamikdash. Now, if he touches it, picks it up with his avnet, he will also be matama the avnet. Nevertheless, Rav Yochanan ben Breika says that he picks it up with the avnet, shaloi lahashas as a tum. Div Rav Yochanan ben Breika, to not prolong the tumah in the Beis Mikdash, he takes it out as quickly as possible, even though in the process it means he will be matama the avnet. However, Rav Yehuda Imam, he says, B'tzvah shal eitz shloi l'rabas asatuma. He says he takes it out, B'tzvah shal eitz, with a wooden tong, which is pshute klietz, which is not makabel tuma. Shloi l'rabas asatuma, not to increase the tuma in the Beis Hamikdash. If he'll take it out with the avnei, Rav Yehuda Tainas, he's adding tuma, he's being marba tuma. Rather, delay, look for a Tzas shel eitz, even though that prolongs the time, but you're not going to be marba, you're not going to be increasing the tumah. Now, there's another issue over here, is that the dead sheretz is muksa. As we'll see shortly in the Mishnah coming up, there's another consideration. Neither of them, however, have a issue with removing the dead sheretz, even though it's muksa. So Rashi says, because ein shvus b'mikdash. The muksa is a d'Rabbanan, ein shvus b'mikdash, and therefore it's waived on account of that. And the Be'er Sheva asks, in fact, the Be'er Sheva, well, that implies that in the Medina it would be also. If it's outside the base of Mikdash, it would be also to remove the sheretz in that manner. In fact, the Be'er Sheva, the dead sheretz, is a garashal rate. A davar that's mos, a davar that's disgusting, the Rabbanan were matir to remove, even though it's muksa, they were matir to remove it for kavod habriyos. So it implies over here that it's only in the Beis HaMikdash that it would be mutter, because ain't shvus b'mikdash, but in the Medina it would be also. Why would it be also in the Medina? It's a garash l'rei. The Be'er Sheva answers is that it's the garash l'rei is only where a person lives. We're talking over here in areas, it's people where they walk. We're not talking in the place where they're living there, where they're sleeping there, where they're eating there. So in these type of places, the heter of garash l'rei doesn't apply. So enechanami, if you found a dead sheretz on a person's house in the Medina, it would be mutter to remove it, but not in the streets. And here we're talking in the public areas. So therefore, in these, it's only mutter over here in the Mikdash because ein shvus Mikdash. Now the Mishnah rather is dealing with the muksatik aspect of it. However, we're mater, it's a special heter over here to remove the muksa. Where are we mater? Which areas are we mater removing it from? Mehechan moitzinoisa, where to remove it from? Mina heichal, from the heich, mina ulam, the ulam, umiben ulam lebzbeach, and in the area between the ulam and the mizbeach. But the rest of the azara, you do not remove it from. Divrei Rabbi Shimon ben Nanas. That's what Rabbi Shimon ben Nanas says. It's only in those areas which have the greater kedusha. Rabbi Kiva Omer, he broadens it. Rabbi Kiva Omer, Kol Malkum Shchayav Mal Zedayna Kares Valshgiga Chatas Misham Matzinoisa. Any place where a person is Tomei, he would be chayav for Shagir Chatas for Mezit Kares, you can't remove it from there. Therefore, that would include the entire Azora area. V'shar Kol Mekaymes Kaifan Pesachter. And in the rest of the areas, you cover it with a copper pot. So therefore, according to Rav Shimon ben Nanas, in the Azora, the rest of the Azora, past the Mizbeach, to the east of the Mizbeach, away from the Ulam, there you would just cover it with a copper pot. And according to Rabbi Kiva, it means the areas which are not in the Azora proper. It means like in the Lishkoyas, those types of areas. Then they would not remove it, it would just cover it. The Sefer the Mishnah says this is unrelated to what we just discussed. The Gemara will explain what is it referring to, but it's referring to something that was mentioned earlier in the Masechta. Rav Shimon Omer, Makom she'atir l'cho chachamim shalcha nasan l'cho, where the chachamim gave you a special heter, it's really yours. Shelo yatir l'cho mishum shvus. They permitted this for you to do these things only because it's also from the Rabbanan. So they allowed you to be over these types of things because the Isser is only a Drabbanatic Isser. So right now it's not clear at all what this is referring to. The Gemara will explain this shortly. We'll see what the explanation of this is. Zok the Gemara, Amar of Tali Bakis Amar Shmuel, Hamachnes Tmei Sheres LeMikdash Chayim. If a person brings a kli into the base of Mikdash, he's chayiv. He's not only, certainly if a person Tommy comes in the base of Mikdash, he's chayiv kares, and shagi is chayiv chatas. And similarly, Rashi says, if he brings a kli that's Tommy, that he brings a kli that's Tommy with a tumas sheretz, so a kli came in contact with a dead sheretz, he's also chayiv. Rashi says it's the same chiyuv. The Goyen says that it's not the same chiyuv, it's only malchus, it's not kares. So that's if he brings a kli, and that's Tomei Sheretz the Mikdash. Sheretz Atzmai, but if he brings the dead Sheretz itself, now even though the dead Sheretz is a source of Tumah, but he's potter. My timer, Omer Kron, the Pasuk says, Mizachar under Keva Tishalechu. You have to send out from the base of Mikdash, from Zachar and the Keva, a male to a female. So the prototype, the example that's given is a person. Now a person can be matar himself. If he's tomei, he has tar b'mikvah. So therefore, similarly, what are the things that we're referring to over here are things that which are similar to a person, which also has tar b'mikvah. Misheish lo tar b'mikvah yotza sheretz shein lo tara. A sheretz has no tara. A sheretz, you can't be matar sheretz. So therefore, it does not apply. This does not apply over here. This teshalechu does not apply over here. Lema Messiah, let's bring a raya to what Shmuel just said. Mizachar ad nekeva teshalechu. It says you have to send out from a male to a female prat likli cheres. It excludes a kli cheres. Kli cheres is not in this Azhar. Divra Yosi Ben Galili. So my time, what's Rav Yosi Ben Galili's reason? La mishum delesle tara b'mikvah. Is it not because there's no tara b'mikvah? A kli cheres, you can't be matayiret. If it becomes tomei, you can't be matayiret by being tovel in the mikvah. The only way to remove the tumah is to break it. That's a special halacha by a kli cheres. So therefore, don't you see this halacha of Shmuel? That what's included in teshalechu to send out is only something that has tara. Where it says, look, it's not a right. Mi shenase avatuma. What it's referring to is something which is a nasa avatuma. Yatsa kli cheres she'en lo avatuma, which excludes a kli cheres, which this does not have an avatuma. A kli cheres cannot become an avatuma. Kalim, generally speaking, kalim, when they come into contact with the tumah, become a rishon l'tumah. They don't become an avatuma. Now you could have a keli that's an avatuma if it's the clay midris of a zav or zova, it's something that they sit on, then they could become an avatuma. But a kli cheres by definition is not talmud kli midris because it's not a kli that's made for sitting. You sit on it, it breaks. So it doesn't have tumas midris. A kli that it comes into contact with a mess could be also an avatuma. But that's only the type of kli that has a tyra b'mikvah if it comes into contact with the mess as an avatuma. Mashen ken a kli cheres ain't like tyra b'mikvah. So a kli cheres cannot become an avatuma. So we have no raya to Shmuel's din because maybe the yotza kli cheres shein nasa avatuma, that it doesn't become an avatuma, not that it doesn't have tyra b'mikvah. So therefore, it has no bearing on the halach of a sheretz. Let's say Shmuel's din is really the basis of the machlokes that we had in our Mishnah. Because the Mishnah says, Sheretz and Nesh and Imsa b'mikdash, Kayin might say Behem Yonai, the Kayin removes it with his avnei, Shalei L'shah, he says a Tumah. Not to prolong the trauma in the base of Mikdash. Tivra Yachin ben Broka. Rav Yehuda Mary says, B'tzal Shalais might see, it says you search for a wooden tong, which is pshute kli eitz, which is not makabel tuma, and remove it with that, so that you're not adding tuma. Shalei l'rabba says a tuma. The kli eitz, the pshute kli eitz is not makabel tuma. So even though this takes more time, you're prolonging the existence of the tumah of the sheretz in the base of Mikdash is nevertheless preferable, so not as to increase the truma. So my love, is this not the basis of the machlokes? The man, the Omer Shloi L'Shayis, Rav Yochanan ben Broka says that don't delay, do it right away, because he holds Kasavar Makli Sheretz L'Mikdash Hayim. He says, therefore, even though you're increasing tumah, you're bringing matama, the avnei, but still it's preferable because you can't have a dead sheretz in the base of Mikdash. If you bring a dead sheretz to the Mikdash, it's chayv, so you have to remove it immediately. Therefore, even though it involves being matama the avnei, nevertheless you have to remove it immediately. Uman dam shloi l'rabba. So Rav Yehuda says that no, we don't want to increase the tumah, and even though it means prolonging the existence of the dead shards in the base of Mikdash, nevertheless, it's preferable to search for the wooden tongs. Because shards and Mikdash potter, he holds a dead shards in the Mikdash the potter. So therefore, the consequence of leaving the dead shards there is not so severe, and therefore search for the wooden tongs. The Gemara says, no, loy lekuli alma, really, I'll tell you, it's not a raya, the kuli alma, that the kuli alma chayiv, that everyone will hold that you're chayiv, and therefore it's no raya to Shmuel at all. So what is the basis of the machlokes? V'achamiflagi mar savar shui tumadiv. Rabbi Yehuda holds that nevertheless, it's better to have the sherets, dead sherets, remaining there rather than to increase the tumah than to be mitama the avnei. Mar sabra pushi tumah olif, and Rabbi Yechon Brogan holds it's better to increase the tumah rather than prolong the existence of the tumah. So meaning, according to Shmuel, Taisa speaks out, according to Shmuel, it's certainly, we would have to say it's a machlokes tanaim. That would be the machlokes, basis of the machlokes of the time. But there's no raya to Shmuel because maybe they both don't hold of Shmuel's din, and therefore it's we have no raya to the validity of Shmuel's din. Shmuel and Economy will learn that it's a machlokes tanaim, but it's not muchach that it's a machlokes tanaim, and maybe neither of them hold of Shmuel's din.